Hello guys and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be looking at another episode of What If a Country Forms an Empire in 2024. And today we're going to be focusing on Saudi Arabia. Before I get into this, the UN, NATO, all those stuff do not exist in this timeline. Saudi Arabia will be buffed for the sake of the video so that they can expand. It'll be on a military, political, and luck-based biased towards Saudi Arabia. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. The red will be Saudi Arabia, and first of all, they're going into Yemen, which, isn't too shocking. Saudi Arabia will start pushing into Yemen, which, to be honest, it would more likely look like this. But there's like a bunch of unorganized group that eventually get their navy around to capturing that island. And Yemen would eventually all fall to Saudi Arabia. Maybe not that fast, and not easily, but they definitely would expand, and they annexed all of Yemen. Next up it's Oman. More like, oh man, they're invading me. Okay, that wasn't. We see Saudi Arabia push into Oman, and surprisingly nobody's batting an eye, because these countries, well, I know that Yemen's being a bit annoying right now. Not like annoying, they're doing something, just annoying to Saudi Arabia. And just like that, almost all of this, the peninsula, is almost entirely owned by Saudi Arabia. The next country up is UAE, and they'll also go for Qatar. Some people call it Qatar, which is goofy. Saudi Arabia will push in and kick their butts. Like, what were they supposed to do? Now, Saudi Arabia needs to look for more targets. Around here looks like a great place to bomb, but that's not a smart idea. That's not nice. Also, Somaliland's independent, or Somaliland. If you recognize them, you don't have to recognize them. That's just how my map is. Kuwait will get invaded, as well as Jordan and Iraq. And with that, also Iran joins the war. Now, this is a whole regional war. So, yike. But Saudi Arabia will be able to handle some of this. They push into Jordan and manage to wipe them out. Kuwait gets wiped out as well, and a push into Iraq is done. Iranian troops flood through and manage to push them back, liberating a little bit of Kuwait. The Navy manages to get a landing in Iran, which manages to flank them, giving Saudi Arabia back the front line. A bombing raid is done here. I like to do bombing raids in my videos. I do not know why. It's a running gag now, I guess. They managed to fortify the border of Iran by invading more of Iraq, which will eventually fall. And now they need to invade Iran, which will never go good, as we all know. To be honest, I feel like they'd call for peace here. I do not see them winning against Iran here. So let's take a gander at the peace deal. They will annex all these countries. That's the peace deal. But none of Iran, which is good for Iran. Not good for everybody else. And Saudi Arabia is absolutely massive now. Next up is Syria. I feel like this would get multiple other countries involved. We're going to say Israel and Palestine's on the same side. That's never going to happen. You know, Syria has a lot of Russian and American troops in there, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if they pulled them out or not. So this would be controversial. But it's not like the Americans are going to declare war on a country all the way over here. You've done it historically, but all the way over here. And why do you even have countries in there? Or, yes, they have countries in here. Troops in there. I guess it's to tone down the situation, but it's not really their country in the first place. Yeah, Syria will fall, and Lebanon will go as well. And now Israel and Palestine are gonna get wiped out. Israel could realistically fight back and probably get decently far, around here. But again, it's favoritism in these videos. And now we have a super strong Saudi Arabia, and now they're going to build up. They're building up their strengths. They're going to do a huge war next. They're doing a tri-war, Egypt, Turkey, and Iran. Why are they doing this? Because they are aggressive, and they want to get all the land as fast as they can. They're pushing in, capture the Suez Canal, which is faced with international backlash, which will eventually get, who's going to get involved? They're eventually going to get nobody else involved, apparently, but nobody likes it. They're also slightly into Turkey. Not that much, though, because they're focusing in on Egypt first. They managed to go and capture Cairo, I think it is, the capital, and they push down. I always forget where exactly the Nile River is, but yeah, Egypt falls. Next up, who would be easier for them to invade? Turkey or Iran? Iran's capital is right there. Turkey's is right there. I'm gonna see Turkey by a slight bit because I know Iran's really hard to invade. So they're gonna do a lot of focus on Turkey and they send troops flooding on in. And the Turks are like, what the heck? And they'll manage to push them back somewhat. But the economy is so trash they can't do nothing. They can't get no more guns or anything, which allows the Saudi Arabians to bleed on through, capture Ankara. Is that the capital, Ankara? I think that is. And it would force Turkey to surrender over to Saudi Arabia. Now they have Iran there, and they're gonna start pushing in. They managed to capture that lake, and now it looks like what happened before. But they built up enough troops to get a naval landing down here, which forces them to apply troops from this front, which will let them push forward. But eventually Iran gets to fortify the front lines again, and with that, the naval landing gets to do a bunch more work over here, but they'll eventually get, both of these fronts are going to be put on a stalemate. Now, they need someone else to join the war in order to win it. I believe that would be, is this Turkmenistan? Anyways, they're going to join in just to get extra land. Both of their troops will go in and Tehran will fall. And with that, I think that Iran would just, Huge regional war though. Who will get what land is now the question around here. First of all, what land gets taken from Egypt? Not the Suez Canal, but that land. The Suez Canal is international stuff. Turkey gets that land taken from them. They don't want too much from Turkey. They mainly want a little land from Iran. They managed to get a decent chunk. But was it really worth fighting this huge regional war for a small slice of Iran? Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not Saudi Arabia. Don't ask me. And now Saudi Arabia looks really goofy. This is just like a repeat of the Poland video where they look goofy. Saudi Arabia looks less goofy. But with this, they're going to start building up their strength. And they're going to go for a final huge war. It's go big or go home. They're going to declare on Egypt, Turkey, and Iran again. So you're going to get Sudan, Ethiopia, and all these countries involved, as well as Libya and all the Caucasus, which is unlikely. They'll also get Pakistan, but they have India on their side. You know what? Not even India on their side. They're going to have to do a war. They're doing a huge war here. With their troops, they push in and capture the Suez Canal. International backlash. Push in, get Cairo, and Egypt is crippled and will eventually surrender. They're holding the front over here on the eastern side, as they want to deal with Africa first. Push in and try to go for the Libyan capital, which would eventually fall. With further invasion, Libya will fall. They'll go down the Nile River, and around here is their capital, I think. Eventually they'll get their capital, and Sudan is also forced to surrender. They push on in, and they're just gonna wimp out. They're gonna wimp out. They're gonna wimp out. Actually, no, not Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a big boy, so they won't go down without a fight. You're pushed into, and their capital will fall, which will cause them eventually to surrender. Although they did put their big boy pants on, or they put their big boy. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know. Cut that out, future Harley. They push into Turkey in hopes to get Ankara, but they move their capital to Istanbul, which is not Constantinople, and they push on in. Ankara is captured, but that's not enough to make Turkey surrender, which will be a huge blow as they get pushed back to the border. A huge amount of Saudi troops get wiped out, which is not good for Saudi Arabia. Not good one bit at all. They managed to do a huge naval thing right here and push in. They managed to also get into Pakistan. But they're building up forces and they get more in. Oh, this is a big trouble. They split the front into two fronts. And now they want to get Pakistan out of the war as fast as possible. So they capture their naval stuff, their coastline, but they reach a stalemate. Eventually they get kicked out of Iran. And now it's becoming possible that they just might lose this war, which is realistic. They would probably lose this war, but they managed to go push back and capture Ankara. But they managed to hold the front long enough. Before they try to challenge Istanbul, it's time to steamroll over the Caucasus, which will go successfully, as the Caucasus have just been steamrolled. They managed to get another push into Iran to happen, but that eventually gets to a stalemate again. They're on the door of Istanbul, which would cause a load of international backlash, but eventually they'd be able to capture it. And now over here, they'd eventually get kicked out of Pakistan, and now they just have to worry about 2 more countries. But these 2 countries are really strong, so yeah, but they'd eventually manage to push in. Again, this is favoritism, but we'll say that a bunch of Iranian troops do not want to fight, which would let Tehran get captured, and the country falls. Pakistan would push right on in, and there's a breach there. Eventually the front line would get reestablished, and they push back through. They push into Pakistan, and surprisingly Afghanistan lets them put troops in so that they can go and capture Pakistan's capital. They managed to once again steal all the water, and Pakistan is forced to surrender, causing an end to this ginormous war. Now, what will Saudi Arabia take in this peace deal? An absolutely enormous peace deal is going to be had soon. Egypt loses all their coast, and so does Sudan, and a little bit of that country, and also a bit of Libya. Turkey manages to barely live on, and they are going to take a lot of Iran. All the Caucasus is now part of Saudi Arabia, which I don't see any problem with whatsoever. Nothing bad will ever happen because of that. Oh boy, yeah, I can see the comments now. Guys, this is not a serious video series. This is basically a joke series, not meant to be taken seriously too much. People take me seriously apparently, which I wouldn't suggest you do ever. I'm not that serious. And with this, Saudi Arabia has just formed their empire. They're absolutely massive, spanning across a good chunk of the Arab world. If you liked this video, make sure to smash that like button. And if you really liked it, make sure to subscribe. I have a whole other bucket of content for you guys to watch now. So I hope you guys like this. Let me know if you like double upload days. And I'll see you guys in another video. Goodbye!